Was she a daughter or was she a killer? The hospice case that shocked America and me. This case kind of shook me to my core because this is something people say all the time. Hospice kills people, morphine kills people. But this daughter literally was not only accused of murder, like she has a mug shot, okay? She has a mug shot because a hospice company accused her of this. So it's kind of unbelievable, but that's why we're talking about it. I want to get my facts straight, okay? So if I look down, it's because I'm reading. So Rachel Waters, the daughter of a woman on hospice, okay, was caring for her mom on hospice, right? But then it got to the point where she really couldn't care for her anymore. Happens all the time. Family tries to do it, and then eventually they're like, it's too hard, I can't do this. So her mother goes into a skilled nursing facility, different than hospice. It's like she takes her to a nursing home. The nursing home gives her the care. The hospice company still also gives her care while in the nursing home, okay? And you guys know by now that once you're admitted onto hospice, you're given something called a comfort kit, right? That's usually 8 medications that you may never give to the person, but you may give to the person. It's kind of like a just in case box full of medication. And one of those medications is morphine. There's always a standing order for morphine, standing order for Ativan, standing order for Haldol, all types of medicine, okay? So her mother was Marcia Foster. She was 74 years old, okay, not that old, suffering from advanced Alzheimer's disease and multiple myeloma, which can be a painful blood cancer. It depends. And she was in a facility, not a hospice facility, but a facility in Georgia. So her daughter, Rachel, was not living in Georgia at the time. She was living in New York. And she got a call from the skilled nursing facility saying, hey, your mom's not looking well. It looks like she's maybe actively dying. So she decided to pack up her things in New York and come to Georgia to be with her mom, who was dying, right? Dying. She's on hospice. Keep that in your mind. Now, Rachel claims when she showed up to the skilled nursing facility in Georgia, she said the conditions were horrific. She said her mom had severe bed sores. She had gone days without eating or drinking, which I'll get into in a second, and she was mostly unresponsive. Now, being devil's advocate here, if you are actively dying, it's not uncommon for you to go days without eating and drinking and to be unresponsive, okay? So if she's actively dying, that's why that's happening. Now, the bed sores, one of two things can happen. Sometimes when you're dying, the skin is an organ. So no matter what you do, no matter how well you change, no matter how much you take care of their skin, they still might get bed sores. Specifically people with like advanced dementia and stuff, they have very little mobility. So it's very easy to get bed sores. But it is pretty obvious, at least from a nursing perspective, when it's like because of poor care and when it's because someone's dying. Again, I wasn't there, so I don't know. But all I know is if you weren't used to this and it was your mom showing up to Georgia and seeing this, I'm sure you can be shocked and angry if no one's like educating you or helping you. So when Rachel sees this, she sees that her mom clearly looks in pain, looks like she's suffering and having a hard time breathing. She remembers that her mom has this comfort kit, right? Here's where it gets complicated, and I want you to understand because I fully understand as the hospice nurse. The facility says, we have no orders for this comfort kit. Okay, we have our own doctors, we need our own orders. That's the hospice company stuff, and they need to give us orders in order for us to be able to give this medication from the comfort kit. Because the daughter's going, I'm going back to my mom's house, I'm getting this comfort kit, and I'm gonna give her the meds. Or I want one of you guys at the nurses at the facility to give these meds. And the nurses at the facility are saying, no, we don't want any part of this. There's no standing orders for morphine for us to give it. You need to get the hospice company to give us these orders. 1, there was no time. 2, I'm sure Rachel is stressed and doesn't fully understand what the heck they're talking about. So she just says, screw you guys, I'll give it to her. And to be fair, if that was my mom, I'd probably do the same thing. I do understand the bureaucracy and the red tape behind it all, because technically the nurses there are not allowed to give the morphine because there's no order for the morphine, okay? So technically she needs to have the hospice company come and literally write the orders or fax the orders over saying, this doctor says this medication, morphine, is ordered for this patient, and this is how often you can give it and what you can give and all the things, right? To make it legal to give. They're saying, we don't have that. So you got to call them and to get it over here. Rachel's like, there's not enough time. What are you talking about? She's suffering now. Screw it. I'll go do it. She goes and gets the morphine. It must have been on her mom's house or something. Comes in and gives her 1 ml, which is 20 milligrams of morphine to her mother. Now, granted, we start out usually at 0.25 mLs, which is 5 milligrams, but 20 milligrams of morphine is not that much at the end of the day. And her mother is already actively dying. Keep this in mind. So less than an hour later, what do you think happens? Her mother dies. Okay, less than an hour later, her mother dies. Now, to me, as a hospice nurse, her mother was probably dying less than an hour later, whether her daughter gave her morphine or not. Either way, her mom had been not getting any food and water, which is normal, and unconscious for days. She was likely actively dying, and her daughter just gave her medication to help relax the central nervous system, help her not have shortness of breath, and help relieve pain, period. But that's not what happened, okay? Which is mind-blowing to me to hear what happened, and it came from other medical professionals. It blows my freaking mind. Can you tell I'm like all fired up about this? Instead of a peaceful goodbye, it says, police became involved, which means this: police never have to get involved if a person on hospice dies, ever. If a person on hospice dies, you never have to call the police or 911. Because they are on hospice and we know they're dying. All you have to do is call the mortuary office, okay? But that's not what the hospice company did. That's not what the skilled nursing facility did. They called the police, okay? And authorities labeled the death as suspicious. Martha's body was taken to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation Crime Lab. This is what blows my mind. Rachel becomes a murder suspect. It gets better. I'll get into more of that. But Rachel then becomes a murder suspect. The police search her family home, her electronics, her items were seized. She had to hire an attorney. But here's almost nothing for over a year. So not only does she lose her mom dies, then she's suspected of murder. Her family stops talking to her and stuff. Then they hear nothing. She hears nothing for a year. 18 months later, Rachel, the daughter of this woman who died on hospice, was charged with murder. Cue mugshot. Cue mugshot of Rachel. This is honestly like unbelievable. And this isn't the first time I've heard this story, by the way. There's other stories like this. And we wonder why we think morphine's bad. She was actually charged with like 2 different types of murder, I guess. Malice murder and felony murder. I don't know. But in Georgia, both of those charges could technically carry the death penalty. Okay, so media frenzy. Media frenzy. People can't believe this. Can you believe it? She's charged with murder. She tried to kill her mom. I mean, and plus the shocking thing, you know, it's very like, did she do it? Did she not? I'm sure that a lot of hospice people are like, how could you be charged with murder? A lot of people saying, yeah, she did kill her, right? So there's 2 sides, right? And it's causing everyone in America to like have this story explode. Unfortunately, there were like salacious headlines, like daughter who gave her mom a lethal dose of morphine, daughter who purposely gave her mom a lethal dose of morphine. Public opinion is very deeply divided. Online debates erupt. Is this euthanasia? Is this hospice care? What are caregiver rights? Amen. Okay, so Rachel's defense is she insists she was following hospice guidelines. Now that's true. So she was following probably what the order said. They had this standing order. Now the facility didn't, but technically her mom ordered this medication. But usually once they're in a facility, it doesn't really matter because the facility has to have the order. It's so stupid. You know, she claims that morphine is the standard medication given at the end of life. Amen. Her mother was already actively dying. Amen. Her attorney presents, you know, the hospice records, videos, witness statements, medical documentation, probably done by the facility, and phone records with hospice staff. Now, I don't know why the hospice company did not come to her aid. It sounds like the hospice company was also like getting on board with like, you know, is that they were like against her as well, which is super strange. And then even more strange, there was an autopsy. There's people who die in hospice never get autopsies, ever. They don't need to. But because they called 911, they got police involved, they did an autopsy. Now, the initial autopsy report said morphine toxicity. That's what it said. Again, which is why she was probably initially charged with murder. Then they came back and said, actually, it's undetermined. Okay, thank God. Once that autopsy changed to undetermined, the charges were dropped. And in August of 2025, you know, the case was basically dismissed. But Rachel says her life has been forever changed. Changed forever. She's estranged from family because now family thinks she tried to kill her mom. So uncles and cousins and people like that think, they're painting her in this bad picture, and really the media was painting her in this bad light. She describes the experience as traumatic and isolating. I mean, one, she lost her mom. She had to help her mom be comfortable, and then she got charged with murder. I can't even imagine. At the end of the day, Rachel was no longer charged with murder, which I think is obviously the correct answer. But like she said, her life has been changed forever. Not only did her mom died tragically, traumatically, and now she had this crazy experience where she not only probably already has guilt for giving her mom morphine, right? But now people have been telling her that she murdered her mom. I just can't imagine. My opinion is morphine doesn't kill people. People are given morphine because they're dying. They're not dying because they're given morphine, period. It had been clearly stated that her mom was on hospice for advanced Alzheimer's and advanced melanoma. She was already actively dying. And Rachel Waters gave a dose of morphine that would not hasten someone's death, and the only thing she did was help her mom have a more comfortable and relaxed and peaceful death. To me, Rachel Waters was the hero of the story, not the villain. Although I will think you are wrong if you don't agree with me, I still want your opinion in the comments. I won't listen to them.
That's not what I'm saying. You have to still let people just rant.
Just kidding, kind of. I do want to know your opinions. I want to know your opinions. I think most of you have been following me long enough to know and believe what I'm saying, but there might be some of you who need to kind of get it out, right? And also, let's talk about the fears that this case brings up. And this isn't the only case. Now, this is few and far between. This is kind of a dramatic story, but it's a real story, and it recently happened. She just got the charges dropped in 2025. So I want to hear from you. What do you think? And you know what, Rachel Waters? I believe you. Okay, I believe you. Again, I think you're the hero, not the villain. Let me know what you think.
I love you so much. I love you too. And you'll love all the other people too.